The Second Cold War, also called Cold War II or the New Cold War, is a term used by various commentators to describe the heightened post-Cold War era political and military tensions between the United States and China. It is also used to describe such tensions between the U.S. and Russia, a state of the former Soviet Union, which was one of major parties of the original Cold War until its dissolution in 1991. Some commentators have used the term as a comparison to the original Cold War. Past sources, such as academics Fred Halliday, Alan M. Wald, and David S. Painter, use the interchangeable terms to refer to the 1979 to 1985 and or 1985 to 1991 phases of the Cold War. Some other sources used similar terms to refer to the Cold War of the mid-1970s. Columnist William Sapphire argued in a 1975 New York Times editorial that the Nixon administration's policy of détente with the Soviet Union had failed and that Cold War II was now underway. Academic Gordon H. Chong in 2007 used the term Cold War II to refer to the Cold War period after the 1972 meeting in China between U.S. President Richard Nixon and Chinese Communist Party Chairman Mao Zedong. In 1998, George Kennan described the U.S. Senate vote to expand NATO to include Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic as the beginning of a new Cold War, and predicted that the Russians will gradually react quite adversely and it will affect their policies. The journalist Edward Lucas wrote his 2008 book The New Cold War: How the Kremlin Menaces Both Russia and the West, claiming that a new Cold War between Russia and the West had begun already. In June 2019, University of Southern California professors Stephen Lamy and Robert D. English agreed that the new Cold War would distract political parties from bigger issues such as globalization, global warming, global poverty, increasing inequality, and right-wing populism. However, Lamy said that the new Cold War had not yet begun, while English said that it already had. English further said that China poses a far greater threat than Russia in cyberwarfare but not as much as right-wing populism does from within liberal states like the U.S. The U.S. senior defense official Jed Babin, Yale University professor David Galerner, First Post editor R. Jagannathan, Subhash Kapila of the South Asia Analysis Group, former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, and some other sources have used the term to refer to tensions between the United States and China. In the 2000s and 2010s, talk of a new Cold War between a United States-led bloc of countries on the one hand and the putative Beijing-Moscow axis, including explicit references to it in the official PRC's media, intensified in the summer of 2016 as a result of the territorial dispute in the South China Sea, when China defied the Permanent Court of Arbitration's ruling against China on the South China Sea dispute, and the U.S. announcing in July 2016 it would deploy the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense in South Korea, a move resented by China as well as Russia and North Korea. Donald Trump, who was inaugurated as U.S. President on the 20th of January 2017, had repeatedly said during his presidential campaign that he considered China a threat, a stance that heightened speculations of the possibility of a new Cold War with China. Claremont McKenna College professor Min-Shin Pei said that Trump's election win and ascent to the presidency may increase chances of the possibility. In March 2017, a self-declared socialist magazine Monthly Review said, with the rise of the Trump administration, the new Cold War with Russia has been put on hold, and also said that the Trump administration has planned to shift from Russia to China as its main competitor. In July 2018, Michael Collins, Deputy Assistant Director of the CIA's East Asia Mission Center, told the Aspen Security Forum in Colorado he believed China under paramount leader and General Secretary Xi Jinping, while unwilling to go to war, was waging a quiet kind of Cold War against the United States, seeking to replace the U.S. as the leading global power. He further elaborated, what they're waging against us is fundamentally a Cold War. A Cold War not like we saw during Cold War but a Cold War by definition. In October 2018, a Hong Kong's Lingnan University professor Zhang Baohui told the New York Times that a speech by United States Vice President Mike Pence at the Hudson Institute will look like the declaration of a new Cold War. In January 2019, Robert D. Kaplan of the Center for a New American Security wrote that, "It is nothing less than a new Cold War. The constant, interminable Chinese computer hacks of American warships maintenance records, Pentagon personnel records, and so forth constitute war by other means. This situation will last decades and will only get worse." In February 2019, Joshua Shifrinson, an associate professor from Boston University, criticized the concerns about tensions between China and the U.S. as overblown. Saw